What's going on, everybody? We are about 10 and a half hours away from kickoff. It's 1:35 in the morning as I record this video here. We are 10 and a half hours away from kickoff, people. Make sure you're on board on the live with me, 11:50 a.m. I will be on board the entire day until the game is over. And then after the game, we will have an open and honest recap and live of the game, following the game, immediate reaction, immediate commentary, and hopefully a lot of celebrating and a lot of fun. But we have to play a game first. However, this video is not about tomorrow. It's about what we saw today in college football. And some of it has direct impact on the Miami Hurricanes. In fact, all of it has direct impact on the Miami Hurricanes. Let's jump in. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmat. Talk facts over feelings here. I always tell you, I'm going to bring you the facts. It comes more than my feelings, but I do give my feelings as well. But I always bring data, and data is number one when it comes to me in everything. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. Leave a comment. Appreciate y'all's support. And I hope to see y'all tomorrow. Let's start off with the game that started off the day, and that was the Ole Miss Mississippi State game. That was the game that had probably the greatest impact on the Miami Hurricanes. And it was the game that, honestly, that was the one game that could have really had a major impact in terms of helping the Hurricanes, also hurting the Canes, but mostly helping the Canes. Because Ole Miss is not the question, really. It comes down to the teams that are right in front of us. At the same time, had Ole Miss lost, then they'd probably drop out of the top 12 or 13 because they've been to a 500 team. But that didn't happen. Ole Miss got the job done with all the rumors and stuff circling their program, with potentially Lane Kiffin departing, while he has said he is not going. Well, it's been reported he's not going to Florida. The question remains: will he decide to take a job at LSU? Now, if you ask me my opinion, I don't think he's leaving Mississippi. I'm going to be real. I don't think he leaves Ole Miss. The guy is finally getting close to that point where you get to the top of the mountain. It is Ole Miss, though. It's not big time college football, territory. And that would be the one thing that could draw him into LSU. But with all those things that happened, Ole Miss handled business, man. They came out, scored on the first possession of the drive. Mississippi State tied it up. But from that point on, it was pretty much all Ole Miss. Mississippi State had opportunities early on. They could not capitalize. They settled for field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. Their quarterback made a lot of mistakes. Camario Taylor blew opportunities. Every time it looked like Mississippi State might make a run into the game, Camario Taylor kind of screwed it up. Trinidad Chambliss started off on fire, had a little slow stretch in the second, and after Ole Miss took was up 14-10 after a Mississippi State field goal, situation in which Mississippi State should needed to score a touchdown before the half. Didn't happen, and immediately thereafter, Ole Miss goes right down the field to end the half and score on a touchdown with one on a drive that lasted 1 minute 33 seconds, and it's 21-10, and that was pretty much the ball game. I mean, realistically, that was the ball game. Mississippi State had a chance. They started off the second half. They went right down the field, and of course, settled for another field goal. Thought they were going to go for it for a second and decided to kick a field goal. I thought that was a massive mistake. You are the underdog. You are a major underdog, and you have nothing to lose here. And instead, they kick a field goal, and it's 21-13. But immediately right after that, Ole Miss goes right down the field, makes it 24-13, and then 31-13. Now, Mississippi State did get back to 31-19, but they could not stop Ole Miss in the second half. Ole Miss was basically doing whatever it wanted to. They did whatever they wanted to, whether it was in the air or on the ground. Ole Miss dominated this game on the road. Trinidad Chambliss goes for 359 on 4 touchdowns, no picks, 23-34. Kawan Lacey goes 27 for 143 and a touchdown. Just dominant. And they have earned their way into the college football playoff. They're going to make the playoffs. Tomorrow's a big day, though, for them as well, because if Alabama loses, Ole Miss will be playing for an SEC championship. That is the game that has a massive impact on the Miami Hurricanes. Alabama and Auburn. That is a massive game. That game, and obviously Notre Dame at night at Stanford. But Alabama Auburn is the game that has the true impact on the fate of the Hurricanes. I don't know if the wonderful committee will have the balls, the stones to make a decision that will boost the Hurricanes over Notre Dame, even though they should already be ahead of Notre Dame with all the data that's out there, because head to head is supposed to matter. As I mentioned in my video last night that published today, 12 of 13 teams have had head to head wins with identical records. And of those 13, 12 of them were ranked ahead of the team that they beat, no matter what. And the only exception is the Miami Hurricanes situation right now with Notre Dame. And we're not just ranked right below them, we're ranked 3 slots below them. Now, Utah did win today, but I don't think that has much of an impact. Kansas is not very good. Utah struggled in that game again, got gashed on the ground again. I mean, I've never seen a team get have the ball running them so much and yet find a way to win games, but they do not look like a team that's to be worried about. Their only shot is to get into the Big 12 championship, and that requires a BYU loss. And I don't think that's going to happen. So you'll likely see a Texas Tech BYU Big 12 championship game. Now, the other game that popped up, so Ole Miss is safe. Now, the other game that popped up in at 3:30 was the where is it? It was the Georgia Tech game. Now, that game had some significance. It did. I know people maybe don't think it did, but it did. Georgia is sitting ranked at 4. And Georgia Tech was just coming off of getting smashed. I mean, realistically, they got smashed by Pitt last week. Now, Miami plays Pitt this week. I do think that the significance of this game is that Georgia was ranked number 4. And if Georgia Tech could have gotten the job done, it could have potentially dropped Georgia out of the rankings. You don't know, out of the top 12. You don't know, because number one, the final was 16-9. So consider the fact that Pittsburgh and Boston College, both, and NC State. So back to back. So 3 straight games where Georgia Tech gave up 48, 34, and 42 points to NC State, Boston College, and Pitt. And Georgia was only able to score 16 points in this game. And last week was a home game, and NC State was a home game. Haynes King was not good. He struggled. This was probably the worst game he played all year. I watched the game. He did not look good. But Gunnar Stockton sucks. Like, I don't want to hear another word about how good Gunnar Stockton is. The dude was 11 of 21 for 70 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He sucks. Like, I don't want to. Anyone that thinks that Carson Beck wouldn't have started over him this year at Georgia, you're high out of your mind. Because Carson Beck would have these guys undefeated. I'll just be real. And this game would not have been that damn close. They ran the ball pretty well on Georgia Tech, but realistically, not a ton of offense. Overall stats, it was 250 to 260, 19 to 14 on first downs. Really, what it was that Georgia Tech could not stop the run when it needed to. It could not get off the field when it needed to. And they just kicked too many goddamn field goals. 3 field goals for both teams, but Tech needed a touchdown. Tech needed touchdowns. And Haynes King did not step up when he needed to do the job, bro. This wasn't the performance of last year. If you got last year's performance out of Haynes King, they'd have won this game by a mile. Now, I think it also shows that Georgia Tech ain't that damn bad. And it also maybe shows that, maybe Georgia ain't that good. So if you think Georgia's that bad, if you think Georgia Tech's that bad, then Georgia can't be that good. And I've said that all year, that Georgia is not that good. They're not that good. They're good, but they're not that good. And they can be had. So if they had lost, maybe they would have fallen out of the top 12. It's a possibility. You have to look at the last 3 weeks and what Georgia Tech had gone through and how they got scored on at will. They're probably going to move up to 3, despite only winning by 7 in a game that did come down to the final play. Haynes King had a Hail Mary to the end zone that got knocked away in the end zone. But that game came down to one final play. And Georgia got the job done, moved to 11-1. Tech dropped to 9-3 on their season. Obviously disappointed for them, but I was hoping that they would get the job done over Georgia. However, that pretty much guarantees Georgia a playoff spot. They can only get to the conference championship game if Alabama wins. I believe that's that. Is it Alabama wins? Because no, is it Alabama wins? No, Georgia's in. My bad. Georgia's already in. The hiccup here is now Bama or Ole Miss because Georgia's now in the SEC championship. So they're going to be put in no matter what. They'll be third in the ranking next week. And even if they lose, you already know that the committee ain't going to bump them out because that's a significant bump. Now, the question then becomes if Alabama wins tomorrow and Alabama loses to Georgia, will they drop Alabama out because they're ranked 10th? I would think that you should. Even though Bama won the first game against Georgia, I would think if they played again and Georgia won, I would be shocked if Bama does not get dropped out of the top 10 or the top 12. It would be shocking to me. I don't care what the rankings are. I don't care this is another game. You cannot lose. You cannot be allowed to lose 3 games and jump into the playoffs. Now, so that didn't go that well for Miami. Now, the third game of the night was Texas and Texas A&M. I picked Texas to win. I expected Texas to win. I don't think Texas A&M is very good. I think they're good, but again, I don't think they're that good. They struggled mightily with South Carolina. They did have their flukish win over Notre Dame. We can look at it whatever way we want. Their win over Notre Dame was luck. Like that. If that play was run 10 times, they would probably complete it the one time they did because it was 4th and goal from the 11-yard line. You're not typically going to score a touchdown from that situation, and they got the job done there, and they won the game by a point. But beyond that, after that game, they had done nothing all year. They played a bunch of bums. Like their schedule was bum filled. And, they came out and honestly got their asses kicked. Texas kicked their ass. And I'm not surprised. Marcel Reed looked ordinary. He threw 2 picks, threw for 180, 20-32. They ran the ball pretty well. Arch Manning was pedestrian, 14 of 29 for 179 and a touchdown. But they ran the ball really well. Travion Wisner went for 19 for 155. Manning was 7 for 53 on the ground. They scored 2 rushing touchdowns, had a passing touchdown, a couple of field goals. Controlled the game. They were down by. It's funny. They were down at the half, but in my brain, I'm saying they're going to win this game. They just looked like they're going to win this game. I wasn't impressed by A&M. Second half was all Texas. Like they outscored them 24-7 second half. It was a wipeout second half. Dominant performance, in fact. And now Steve Sarkisian is running his mouth at the end saying, we belong in the playoffs. Like, no, the hell you don't. You lost 3 times, bro. Stop it. You beat the number 3 team in the country that really shouldn't have been ranked number 3. He actually said on record that, oh my God, they could be, people are saying they could be number 1. No one is saying that Texas A&M could be number 1. Nobody. Not after that South Carolina game. Nobody. And there are the Hurricane fans out there that are all petrified on Facebook. Oh my God, we can't afford to have Texas win. Oh, they don't mean shit. Texas is not jumping 6 spots into the top 10, bro, by beating A&M. They're not going to be a 3-loss team with a loss to Florida and jump in. He's talking about Ohio State, and I wish the reporter would have said, well, you lost to Florida. In fact, Florida whooped your ass. And you lost by 25 to Georgia. I know the game was closer than the scoreboard. I watched the game. But the scoreboard is what the scoreboard is. You lost by 25 points. You got drugged at the end of the day. Final score was the final score. You got drugged. And that was only 2 weeks ago, okay? Or 2 games ago. So let's not act like it was 21-0 in the fourth. But the game was 14-3 at halftime. You were losing. And fourth quarter, they scored 40 seconds in. It's 21-10. They scored 5 minutes after that. It's 28-10. Game was over. And they still scored with just under 5 minutes left. So it wasn't like they scored a junk touchdown with 30 seconds left to go in the ballgame. They drug you, bro. And they drug you in the fourth quarter when the game was on the line. So I don't want to hear that, Sarkisian. Your team is not a top 10 team. Your team does not belong in the playoffs. You did lose to Ohio State. And I'll tell you, I don't think Ohio State's that goddamn good. But that's what happened today. So A&M is not going to drop out, but they're out of the SEC championship game. That is a fact. They are out of the SEC championship game because Ole Miss is going if Alabama loses. That's the problem with this unbalanced schedule, is that Texas A&M didn't even play Ole Miss, and they're not going to go to the SEC championship because of whatever reason, the unbalanced schedule that has the numbers that worked in Ole Miss's favor. I guess the same numbers that seem to work in Duke's favor against Miami, which is why Miami needs Duke to lose, which is utterly ridiculous. But nonetheless, A&M's out. They're gonna make the playoff probably as a 7-8 seed. What you don't want to have happen as a Miami Hurricane fan, what you don't want to have happen is that they slot them in behind Notre Dame. But that will be the test, right? That's the real test. Will the committee drop Texas A&M behind Notre Dame? What do y'all think? Or will they keep them ahead of them? So with the rankings as is, you would move Georgia up to 3. And this is obviously presuming that everybody else wins. So we can't speak on it. If Oregon loses, that changes the scenario. If Oklahoma loses, that changes everything. All these, hell, if those teams all lose, A&M might be ranked 5th. You never know. Like it's a possibility, because if you look at the rankings, still, Texas Tech has to play. Let's say Texas Tech loses. They're not gonna, but let's say they do. They might drop all the way out the damn playoffs. Oregon, if they lose, they dropping out the playoffs as well. Ole Miss, they move up. So you're gonna have Ohio State, Indiana. Let's say everyone wins. Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Will they move A&M ahead of Notre Dame because they beat them? Because they have one loss as well, or will they move them behind them? I wonder. That's if everyone wins. Now people might lose. Bama could lose. Notre Dame could lose. Hell, Miami's irrelevant at this point in terms of A&M. Oregon can lose. Tech can lose. I mean, Texas Tech can lose. A lot of these teams can lose. So we'll see what happens. But I think Miami Hurricane fans need to take a fucking breath, woo-saw a little bit, bro. Take a breath. Texas is not jumping over all these teams. It ain't gonna freaking happen. It ain't gonna happen. Period. Like, stop tripping. You'll be okay. They're 3 losses. They're not gonna jump a bunch of freaking 2-loss teams. And if everybody ahead of them wins, Utah did already win. If everybody ahead of them wins, they're all still 2-loss teams. I mean, that's what it is. So we have a big day of football tomorrow. I am crossing my fingers on 2 specific games, more than any games that there is. It's Alabama and Oklahoma. And we got football going all day. Just to give you a rundown of the schedule, we play at 12. Ohio State, Michigan's at 12. Texas Tech, West Virginia is at 12. 1 p.m. UCF at BYU. Let's go UCF. Let's go, Florida boys. Let's go take care of business. 3:30, Oregon at Washington. 3:30, LSU at Oklahoma. 3:30, Vandy at Tennessee. 7 o'clock. This is the game that we're looking at besides ours, presuming we win. Virginia Tech and UVA. We want a Virginia Tech win. And Alabama at Auburn at 7:30. UCLA's at USC. SMU at Cal at 8 o'clock. Notre Dame at Stanford at 10:30. And when is the Duke game? And Duke and Wake Forest is at 3:30. Wake Forest at Duke. Duke is a 1.5-point favorite. Wake is 8-3. Duke is 6-5. Tell you, man, their quarterback's got 26 touchdowns and 4 picks, and they're 6-5. God, dog. But yo, that's it, man. This is the final weekend for us, unless we somehow get to the ACC championship. And I expect to win. You've seen my preview by now. But today was a fun day of football. Not the way I would want it to go, but it was a fun day of football. And this is why we watch football, guys. This is what we love. This is why we enjoy. This is why we do this. We enjoy this. We love this. This is a lot of fun. Tomorrow's gonna be a really, really fun day, presuming we win. And A lot of football to watch. So make sure you're with me at 11:50 all day long, and we will roll. We will roll through this thing. We're gonna get this job done. I hear a lot of negativity. I'm not with the negativity. I'm thinking nothing but positive thoughts. Everyone worrying about cold weather and this, that, and the third. Bro, let me explain. Let me explain something to South Florida people about snow and how snow works. It's kind of like that thing we have down here called rain, right? It rains when it's cloudy and there's condensation in the air and the clouds turn gray and then it rains, right? That's what snow does. It does not just randomly snow because it's cold. Snow comes from condensation. It is basically frozen rain. The fact that I've seen people talking about this like, oh, it could snow because it's cold and it could rain because it's wet. I don't know. It doesn't rain. It doesn't rain because it's hot. It rains because there's condensation in the air. It rains. It doesn't. It snows because there'll be condensation. So if you have a gray clouds, yes, Pittsburgh has gray skies. Yes, it does. But the weather report says that there's no condensation in the area. It's not supposed to rain. It's not supposed to snow. It's supposed to be just fine. 30 to 35 degrees. If you know what, at the end of the day, if the weather is what makes Miami lose, then fuck them. They don't deserve to be there. That's it. I don't mean fuck them, but like fuck them. Like, you know what I mean? If they can't deal with some freaking 30 to 35-degree temperatures to play football, bro, I ain't got nothing. Like, it's supposed to be a sunny day for part of the day. It'll be cloudy. They don't even have, like, they have showers in on Sunday. Bro, it'll be fine. It will be fine. And by 1, 2 p.m., it will not be below freezing. So the game starts at 12. It says 33 degrees at 12. No wind. So when you don't have any wind factor as well, it doesn't feel as cold as you think. The wind is what really makes you feel cold. So again, be here. Appreciate y'all. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's go Canes. It's Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.